So, I have just finished watching Chapter 4 of the Book of Boba Fett, and now it's time to review it. So, join me, Lucas Prime, and as a bit of a heads up, guys, my best friend, Francis, will not be available to take part in today's review because he's very busy, so yeah. So I'm going to be reviewing it by myself today, so yeah. Anyway, cue the intro.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Alright guys, so it's time to review this episode. So yeah, now, compared to the previous chapter, which was the Streets of Mos Espa, which I did not like, I didn't like that episode at all. This episode, however, I did really like. It was really fun to watch, and definitely a big improvement compared to the previous one, in my opinion. So what happens in this episode then? So, we of course get, flashback, like we have done the past couple of episodes, where we see Boba in his back to tank healing, and then we see flashbacks. So in a flashback, Boba is wanting to break into Jabba the Hutt's palace to reclaim Slave One, because it's in possession of the palace now. So yeah, and he's got his own bantha now, guys, which he's using to travel on Tatooine in. And while he's planning on how to break in, he sees like a big flash in the sky, guys, which is implied to be maybe a ship or something. And I had a feeling it was setting up something connected to Mandalorian, because we heard a brief hint of Mandalorian's theme in the music, guys, which is actually really nice to hear. And he goes to where this light has come from, and he finds Fennec lying on the ground. So yeah, this finally confirms that, the figure which was seen coming up to her body in the end of her appearance in Series 1 of Mandalorian was him. I think I knew all this time it was him, because I thought that was how they were hinting at him, and yeah. And series 2, confirmed that he was one who rescued her, and this episode shows it. So yeah, it was really cool to see how he rescued her. And he takes her to a modification place where some technicians, they're able to repair her by using metallic technology to give her cyborg appearance like she has in Mandalorian Series 2. So yeah, that's how she appears. And he requests her help to break into Jabba's palace, but then she reveals that it's been taken over by Bib Fortuna following his death on the barge in the Dune Sea. So they plan how to get in, and so what's cool is they use a little droid to scout the palace and to investigate it before they go in. And yeah, the droid they use looks a bit like a thermal detonator, in my opinion. So yeah, it was pretty cool overall how they did that, how they planned it out, and then it shows them a hologram of the palace, and yeah, it went, and that's how they're able to break in, knowing the way to get in. They go in via some sort of sewer thing, guys, and yeah, it was a really clever tactic. And we got a pretty cool scene where we see them, we see some droids who are making some food for the palace, and yeah, some cooking droids, and yeah. One of them reminded me a lot of the torture droid from Return of the Jedi, who of course later appeared in Series 1 of Mandalorian. So yeah, quite similar. I don't remember who voiced it though, but yeah, it was pretty cool to see that droid design appear again. And I don't think it's the same one, because Boba Fett of course kills it. So yeah, and then they take down the other droid as well. There's also a little droid as well, which also appears. I don't remember. I think it's it's got a lap rod or something. I think something like that. So yeah. It was pretty nice to see that design return. It was pretty cool to see return. Yeah. And then after this, guys, they then search the palace, and eventually they do find Slave One in some sort of hangar in the palace. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see which palace has a hangar to put ships in, which is pretty cool. So yeah, nice little part of the palace we've got to see. And after a struggle with fighting the guards, especially the Gamorrean guards as well, who also fight, they're able to break out. It takes some time, because they have to, shoot down some barriers to get out. And yeah, after some effort, now they're able to break out and they get the door open. Fennec is originally planning on staying behind, but eventually she decides to get on Slave One and help Boba escape. So yeah, I'm able to escape from the guards and the palace. And Boba Fett does release her from his service, but instead of leaving, she decides to choose to continue working with him. So yeah, Probably because, she really appreciated the fact that he saved her life, yeah. Because without him, she would have died, of course, so yeah. Then, guys, we got a really pretty satisfying moment where he says he wants to have to do some unfinished business and get it over with. And because I hated episode 3, how it killed off a Tusken Raider camp that he made friends with in the past couple of episodes, I did love how in this episode he took down the biker gang who killed them. And he blasted them with Slave One. That was just awesome and very satisfying. So, yeah, felt really happy that he got his revenge on them, yeah, because yeah, killing off Tusken Raiders so early into the series was a very bad move in my opinion, so I'm glad Boba Fett got his revenge. Then after this, guys, they then go to the Dune Sea, where they encounter the ruins of Jabba's barge, and also a Sarlacc pit next to it, of course, and they attempt to go inside to retrieve it, and it was pretty questionable how they were trying to, go inside it, because I'm thinking, Slave One's too big to fit in the pit, so yeah, and unfortunately, the Sarlacc creature does wake up and tries to attack them and consume them, so yeah, by damaging the Slave One. But thankfully, however, Fennec is able to deploy one of the Slave One's EMP weaponry into the Sarlacc's mouth and, yeah, cause it to release a shockwave. And I don't know if it killed the Sarlacc or not. They never confirmed the actual fate of the Sarlacc creature, but yeah, we'll see what happens, but yeah. And then Boba Fett does try to climb in afterwards, and yeah, but unfortunately it's no avail because his armour's not there. He can't find it. And Fennec is also wondering if it's even there. Did it survive the digestion? But Boba Fett says it's Beskar armour, so it should still be there. But yeah, of course, if you watch Chapter 1 of this series, you'll be aware that Jawas took his armour from him after he climbed out. So yeah, but I'm wondering as well why Boba thinks his armour's still in there, considering that he did climb out with his armour still on, It's pretty confusing, like, does he think that the Tuskens probably dumped his armour in there or something, or someone else dumped it in? So, after this then, guys, we then cut back to the present day, where we see Boba Fett is finally completing his healing, it's finally done. And, after this, he then goes into Mos Espa, and we see Chris Anson, who's getting into a bar fight with some patrons who are, playing some casino game, so yeah. And he beats them up with his knuckle dust without the electrical sparks on them, and yeah, it was a pretty brutal fight, but yeah. And Boba Fett hires him, says, that if he's looking for work, he can work for him. And Boba Fett then requests that that Jabba's subordinates stay neutral in his war with the Pike Syndicates, which they agreed to. And then Boba Fett then says that he needs some muscle for a war. And then Fennec indirectly suggests that they ask someone for help. And based on the music they played in the episode, I can guess who wanted to hire, because they play the Mandalorian's theme, guys. So yeah, it looks like they're going to be asking Din Djarin himself for help. So yeah, it's possible that in the next episode we might see a cameo appearance by Din Djarin. We'll see. It'd be really interesting to see how that would go, absolutely. It'd be pretty exciting, yeah, to see him team up with Din Djarin again. It'd be pretty cool to see. But yeah, this episode was definitely way better than the previous one, because the last one was so disappointing, in my opinion. I really did not like it. It was so questionable. And thankfully, those bikers of people with those horrendous motorbike speeders were thankfully not in this episode, which I was happy about, because they mentioned as being in Mos Espa, searching for the mayor of Mos Espa, so yeah, in the sanctuary, so yeah, they were nowhere to be seen, thankfully. And thankfully they didn't show up in the scene where Boba Fett hires Chris Anson, so yeah, thank God for that. Because if I saw them again, I'd be pretty annoyed. But yeah, nevertheless, this was a great episode, definitely a big improvement compared to the previous one, so yeah. And yeah, I really enjoyed watching this. It was really fun to watch, and yeah, can't wait for the next episode next week. So guys, this is me doing my review for Book of Boba Fett Chapter 4 called The Gathering Storm. This was definitely a great episode, really fun to watch. I really enjoyed it. So drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave my comments what you guys thought of today's episode of Book of Fett. Look what your thoughts are on it. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for movies in the future. And also, as well, please be sure to subscribe to Opera and Scissors as well, because, yeah, he deserves support, so I'll link his channel in the description below. And also, if you'd like to be a member, you can press join if you piece a lot, or you can leave a little description. And may the force be with you always.